In the news tonight, more drama in Sedalpa camp. Mitigation phase implemented in the West. And strict maritime protocols followed.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
Good evening, Fiji. Member of Parliament Moses Mbulitavo has called for the resignation of Sedalpa General Secretary Lenaitasi Nduru. This is the latest development in a twist of events that started with a controversial disagreement between the party and Sedalpa MP when he supported the government's 2021-22 national budget and the Tauke Land Trust Budget Amendment Act 2021. Christian Oluwai reports Mbulitavo has even called Nduru a puppet to the party management.
According to the Sedalpa constitution, Moses Mbulitavo will be expelled or told to resign for going against party stance for the third consecutive time this year.
He thinks I'm not going to resign. He's being childish. Like I said, that sign of a drowning man trying to grasp straws.
The party wrote a letter to the Speaker of Parliament invoking sections of the Constitution which deem an MP's seat vacant if the member votes against the party line in Parliament.
I haven't received any letter.
Meanwhile, Supervisor of Elections Mohammed Zanim says it is a party matter when asked on the possibility of vacating Mbulitavo from Parliament. Efforts to try and get Mbulitavo's comment were unsuccessful. Christiana Uluai, FBC News.
With more COVID-19 deaths and infections in the Western Division on Vitilevu, the Health Ministry is moving into its mitigation phase. This, as seen in the Central Division, this will mean resources being directed to caring for the severely ill, preventing deaths. Minister for Health, Dr. Efremo Nganambete, says people need to have faith in the vaccination program.
Health teams in the West are now preparing for the worst-case scenario, similar to measures set up in the Central Division.
The teams that are in the Western Division, and the Permanent Secretary has alluded to this, they're working hard in terms of their measures to be able to ensure that they contain the disease as much as they can, and also transiting into the mitigation phase. We're all aware of what that implies.
This means preparing facilities for high-risk groups who may fall severely ill, supporting divisional hospitals to cope with an influx of critical patients and having teams on standby to respond to emergencies. Teams in the West are no longer carrying out contact tracing and will instead identify and closely monitor people with COVID-19 symptoms who are at higher risk of developing severe illness.
The vaccination is a lifesaver. The vaccination is a safety net. So one cannot just think that there is no safety net in place. And I think we must understand that the more people that are vaccinated, the more people that are fully vaccinated, then the likelihood of hospitalizations and death reduces remarkably.
Last week alone, I think it was the first time since we've done our campaign, we had the highest number of vaccinations done, and that is close to 90,000.
Positive cases will have to self-isolate at home for 14 days. All major health facilities will remain open in all subdivisions in the West, providing emergency services, admissions and inpatient care.
Ensuring that Kandavo remains COVID-free is one of the priorities for the health team deployed to the island for emergency surgery this week. The surgical team, in coordination with the Transport Ministry, traveled to the island by MP Webueti. Head of FEMAT, Dr. Luke Nasendra, says strict COVID-19 protocols and procedures were followed to ensure the virus does not reach the island. Seneni Mbuela reports.
The team considered options before responding to the emergency call from Bonise Hospital in Kandavo.
We cannot really wait until daylight to retrieve the child. So we then thought about options of sending the team. We are very mindful about the COVID situation. Right. So that's why we decided, okay, we'll go for the government ship in the Webueti.
Medical Officer Dr. Sabinatha Ratungoli says being part of the first ever team to respond to a child on the island via MV Webueti was a blessing.
Looking at the time difference, the naval boat would have to go and retrieve the child, and in that time we could just go on this boat, dock there and do the operation there. It may cost a lot, but saving a person's life costs more, because you never know that maybe that child that we saved yesterday could be our next Prime Minister.
The child is now in stable condition at the Colonial War Memorial Hospital in Suva. The health ministry is ready to respond to any emergency on Maritime Islands while keeping in mind the COVID-19 protocols. Sainiani Boila, FBC News.
And to our latest COVID-19 update for today, Fiji recorded 752 new COVID-19 infections for the period ending at 8 a.m. yesterday. 664 cases are from the Central Division and 88 are from the West. The Health Ministry also recorded 7 new COVID-19 deaths between July 10th and August 5th. 6 deaths were in the Central Division and 1 in the West. Fiji has recorded 35,570 cases since April this year. There are now 23,696 active cases in isolation, with 11,501 recoveries in total. The COVID-19 death toll now stands at 290. The vaccination campaign also continues around the country. As of yesterday, 508,769, or 86.7% of the population, have received their first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. 175,570, or 29.9%, have received their second dose. The 5 most vaccinated areas include Rewamba and Nandronga, which are now 100% first jabbed. Next are Nandi and Naitasiri. Rewa now also takes the lead as the most first and second jabbed province. Apolosi to Loma Wangalevo Namaka in Nandi is now fully vaccinated. Have you been vaccinated yet? Up ahead, domestic violence reports increase, and work on village kindergarten completed. Welcome back. The Fiji Women's Crisis Center has received a year's worth of domestic violence-related calls in 4 months during this pandemic. Feminists have called this a crisis within a crisis. Christiana Uluwai reports.
Domestic violence has become a pressing issue to many Fijian families during this pandemic.
About 700 calls a month, about 70% are domestic violence, the rest are for other things.
Ali says the trend of calls coming in is worrying and signifies a bigger problem in the community.
It's definitely higher. The numbers that we have seen just over these last 4 months would be something we would be seeing for the whole year around October or so.
Empower Pacific mental health specialist Prem Singh says this pandemic has created a lot of anxiety, uncertainty and fear among the people.
This pandemic has actually created a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty and fear amongst our people. And they need to reach out for assistance in order to actually not only look after their mental health well-being, but also their children's, their families and their loved ones.
The FWCC also says that there are men calling in for support as their wives have left them given the dire situation being encountered. Christiana Uluwai, FBC News.
Following the devastating impact of the tropical cyclone in December last year, villagers of Tavea Island in Bua have completed the rebuilding of their village kindergarten. Eleanor Turangavi reports with the building materials provided by government, the classroom was built in just a month.
For 4 weeks, the men on Tavea Island have been working to complete the construction of a new kindergarten classroom.
When the Prime Minister visited Lekutu, we went and asked him if government can help with the rebuilding of our kindergarten, and he approved it.
The kindergarten was out of action when school started this year after TC Yasa in December last year destroyed the previous classroom.
We had yet to complete building our previous classrooms when TC came and destroyed it. So after TC we received our materials from government.
The completion of the classroom is a welcome relief. The 15 students will get to learn in a new and proper learning environment.
It's a big relief. Our children attend school at Lekutu district. They are boarders there, and we were also going to send our kindergarten students there. We are really happy.
The construction of the classroom cost government $11,000 with the labor provided by the village. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
Members of the Naiwala Singa Youth Club in the Wilevu are not leaving any stones unturned as they tap into commercial and subsistence agriculture for sustenance. Club leader says a good number of members have been made redundant from their workplace due to COVID-19. Josiah Nunga has more.
It is never too late to return to where it all began, tilling the land, which is an asset that will guarantee life goes on despite the current crisis.
We can't be roaming around the streets here in the Wilevu and expect to be spoon-fed by those at home at all the time. This is the sole reason we established this group and make use of the available land to assist us to put food on the table.
This youth group consists of 10 members, usually start off the day at 8 a.m. and have made it their business to at least plant 60 crop seedlings, vegetables and fruits on this given piece of land daily. They believe being a farmer is not easy, and like any job, it requires commitment, dedication and hard work.
We are left with 2 or 3 months to harvest these vegetables and crops. We will be selling some of the produce to the market and we will use the remainder at home.
From office work to swinging the knife on the farm, these young farmers are enjoying their time and have no regrets so far.
I was previously employed by the Water Authority of Fiji. The situation wasn't getting any better, so I decided to join the youth club on the Sole Solvaki initiative to sustain my family.
These youth members have been using farming equipment from their relatives in the area. They are in dire need of seedlings and farming tools to boost the quality of their produce. Josiah Nunga, FBC News.
Businesses in COVID-stricken towns and cities are slowly adjusting to the new norm as they work hard to continue operations. The incentives in the national budget is an added boost as many retailers will be able to stay afloat and keep their staff employed. Lena Reese has more.
Suva Retailers Association President Jitesh Patel says the budget will build consumer and investor confidence that will create more economic activity.
So it will help us all to get up on our feet and start building up the economy again. That's very important for all of us to do. It is like we have to come together and work as a team. Then only we can achieve things going forward.
The Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation has clarified that employers are also looking to adhere to the no jab, no job policy as the new financial year started earlier this week.
The regulation, the employers mandated and directed to ensure those who are not vaccinated are not to come to work. And therefore, if any breach of that regulation can result in 2 things. Either they will close the company temporarily and or fine the company.
Batiweti says this budget will also address, if not most, all of the concerns of micro, small and medium enterprises wishing to restart their ventures amidst this crisis. Lena Reese, FBC News.
Ahead in sports, PM praises Fijiana's efforts and pay cut likely for international coaches. Back. The Fijiana Sevens team and officials will be given $11,000 each for their heroic performance at the Tokyo Olympic Games. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama announced yesterday that a $1 million package has been set aside for the Fiji Sevens and Fijiana teams. Benina Rakautonga with the details.
Every one of us expected greatness, and our heroes have delivered in spades.
Praising the Fijiana players, the Prime Minister says gone are the days when women played in the shadow of the men's side.
Every other girl in Fiji felt that same inspiration. To see Fijian women achieve what our Fijian achieved is the proudest moment in my lifelong rugby fandom. I'm sure every parent of daughters in Fiji feels the same.
He adds the Fijiana rallied, battled and won the bronze, and so it is befitting that the players be rewarded.
Every player will be granted $11,000 for winning bronze, as will Coach Saisifuli, Assistant Coach Timothy Bolabola, Strength and Conditioning Coach Tikiko Namaua, Physio Jennifer Kalik-Wainingoro, and Manager Vela Naudukindi.
Fijiana coach Sayasi Fuli says they're looking forward to returning home to take a much-needed break.
The plan is to wait for the 10th and board the flight and go straight home. Take a break and enjoy my time with my families, my kids. I don't have anything right now at the moment. I think my contract is up to after this Olympic campaign.
The Fijiana players and management will share a total of $198,000. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Sports Commission is looking at a 20% pay cut for all international coaches. This includes Gareth Baber, Fiji Pearls coach Jenny Brazel, and football's Fleming Sheretslev. So far, the Fiji Sports Commission is paying the salaries of 4 international coaches, including 3 local coaches who are internationally recognized. As Venina Rakautonga reports, the Commission had been granted $4.1 million this financial year.
The Commission has relooked at its strategic plans for this financial year due to the pandemic.
There's a realization of the current situation. It's very hard, especially right at the moment. We have the policy that sports won't get back into action until everybody's got the double jab.
However, Fiji FA Chief Executive Mohammed Yusuf says they do not agree with the pay cut, as their national coach has been contracted with them for 3 years.
We will very strongly object to that. There's a lot of other areas where they could cut cost, but not in this way. The whole country is going to take a step backward.
Maisie says they are investing more in programs for local coaches to be internationally recognized to reduce the hiring of international coaches.
The whole international coaching program was put together to bring up local coaches, so that we don't have to keep employing these very expensive international coaches.
$1 million has been set aside in the 2021-2022 financial year for engaging of coaches. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sport.
2 Fijian chess masters will be representing Fiji to the 2021 FIDE Online Olympiad from next weekend. Women's FIDE Master Hilda Konau and candidate Master Guru Arvind have non-playing captain roles to manage board order, offer draws in tactical situations, and keep the team technically intact. Fiji is part of the 155 countries registered for the tournament. Team captain Guru Arvind says Fiji had a decent outing last year and had recorded wins against Somalia, Macau, Bhutan, Guam, and Laos. Mainly fine conditions prevailed over the country today. In the west, mostly sunny and pleasant. It became breezy this afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, a mixture of sun and clouds with a shower in places this afternoon. Looking at the north, pleasant with sunshine and patchy clouds. At sea, moderate southerly winds, fresh at times, winds becoming predominantly southeast from tonight, moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tide, the next low tide is at 11:56 tonight, with a low tide at 6:07 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:30. For tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions with few showers over the southern parts and interior of the larger islands, Lau and the Lomaiviti group. Elsewhere, mainly fine, cool at night. Looking further ahead to Monday, mainly sunny with a slight chance of scattered showers in places. Recapping our main stories, more drama in Sidelpa camp, mitigation phase implemented in the West, and strict maritime protocols followed. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we're asking, should there be a Olympics Sevens celebration once Fiji is cleared of COVID-19? Visit our website to take part. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos by email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts. And you can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news and sports and listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news for tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow. Watamanda.